Hi, my name is Leah Castor and I'm graduating from Newton South High School and I'll be attending Northeastern University next year. I'm just going to come out and say it. I had a really hard year. That does not mean that there have not been some great things to have happened, but overall this has been a really challenging year. I broke my ankle playing hockey my junior year and missed an entire season, and it has not healed well, so I've experienced a lot of physical pain. Then there has been the emotional pain. I lost both of my grandparents this fall, 6 weeks apart from one another. Both passings were pretty unexpected. And now this COVID business as a senior sucks. It's very scary and everything seems really uncertain in this world right now. I know that there are so many people so less fortunate, as my parents regularly remind me, and I really do have so much gratitude that we are healthy and are not hungry. But that does not mean I don't feel overwhelmed. It feels like I did not have a chance to catch my breath from burying my papa to COVID. I am the youngest of 4 in my family, as many of you know. Being active at the temple was never even a question. My siblings all attended Midrashah and went to Israel, Washington, and New York. I was always very excited about experiencing the fun and friendships that they had at the temple. Unfortunately, it did not really go that way for me. When I was in middle school, I decided based on some of the poorly behaved kids in my grade that the temple was not for me anymore. I told my mom that I was so fed up and unhappy at temple that I was quitting. If any of you know my mom, that was not going to fly. My grade had our bar and bat mitzvahs, and the dynamic of the grade changed. We ended up with a very small but cohesive class. Just like my siblings, I would do anything to go to Midrashah and lounge night. I went to Israel with the rabbi, Becky, and Francie, and I literally still laugh out loud at so many things that happened on that trip. It was one of the highlights of my life. I've also gotten very involved in Bagel, and I am now co-president. I started this speech by explaining that this has been a really hard year. My TBA family, and they really are family, has helped me so much through all of these very tough times. When my papa died, I walked outside of the hospital hysterical and called Miriam. My mom called the rabbi and he met us at our house. I remember him giving me the biggest bear hug for a really long time, one of those moments where you feel so safe in the middle of a catastrophe. And then went to temple just for dinner so I could see my friends who I knew really know me, understand me, and would be there for me. And now during this disaster, the most fun times I have had during the day are during the stay-at-home orders have been bagel remote events. We have all been getting together through Zoom and talking and playing games. While we are together, we all forget for a few hours what is going on and the world seems okay. I remember standing in Israel and in Getty next to Rabbi Stern during my bat mitzvah. My siblings presented me with the temple gifts and speech. They said, no matter where I land in this world, to always find a temple. And if I do, then I will always have a home away from home. I want to thank Rabbi Stern, Rabbi Lisa, Becky, Francie, Miriam, Shuki, and all of my teachers throughout my journey at TBA for giving me another home away from home. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
When I used to think about religion, I pictured an old white guy with a beard living in the clouds, or a long-haired bearded man with a wooden staff walking through the desert, or an ocean splitting in half. I feel like that's what every young child thinks about when they hear the word religion. What I've learned since then is that those stories have nothing to do with religion. Religion for me is about community. Judaism provides a sense of community and a safe space that is invaluable in a world that is going through such a hard time right now. I really began feeling this sense of community at the temple during our trip to Israel. While my personal experience in Israel was testing at times, the trip was really great because I got to know everybody in the group who went on the trip, and I made some great friends with whom I share many memories with. That was probably my most memorable time at the temple, and it is certainly a trip I'll never forget. Once we returned from Israel, I really got to know everyone at the temple, and it has become such a great community that has an important place in my life. Anyways, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I would like to thank everyone at the temple who has helped me throughout the years. Everyone I have met here has made this place very special for me, and it will continue to be an important place in my life.
In 8th grade, I found out the temple I had belonged to for my entire childhood was closing. The place my parents had gotten married, where my brother and I went to Hebrew school, and where I became a bar mitzvah. To hear that we would have to move to another temple was hard to hear, just because I had become so comfortable at Congregation Mishkan Tefillah. Not only did we have to move, but we had to make this move rather quickly in order to start planning for my brother's bar mitzvah. As a result of this, we joined Temple Beth Avoda, because it is very close to our house and we were familiar with some families that had already belonged there. After switching synagogues rather quickly, it was very easy to get acclimated to the TBA community. Since I had some friends who already went there, I was able to connect with them at Midrashah and get to know some others. After a while, they stopped going to Midrashah and I decided to switch to a TA. Through my TA experience, I was able to connect with younger teens and hopefully provide them with a positive Jewish education experience. Throughout the past 5 years at TBA, I was able to have an incredible experience in Jewish education, and I got to meet and work with a lot of amazing people. For these reasons, I would like to thank TBA for shaping the Jewish adult I am today.
I've been coming to Temple Beth Avodah for as long as I can remember, and over the years, as I've grown and changed, so has what this place has meant to me. The earliest memories I have here are coloring Hebrew letters downstairs in the classrooms, or chasing my brother around the synagogue's halls. As I became older, I began attending Sunday school and Hebrew school on Tuesdays. There, I learned about my Jewish history and was taught the basics of the Hebrew language. But I wasn't just learning. I was also beginning to grow as a person. When I was younger, I was extremely shy and pretty much kept to myself. Going to temple, I would leave my town and the people I knew to learn with a bunch of kids that I had hardly met. This pushed me out of my comfort zone and helped me meet many new people that I would never have gotten to know otherwise. Although quite hesitant at times, I kept coming back, class after class, year after year, all the while growing and changing into the person I am today. Eventually, I stopped going to Hebrew school and Sunday school and came to the temple once a week on Mondays for Midrashah. The shift in curriculum from Hebrew school to Midrashah provided a completely new type of learning environment for my peers and I, and frankly, changed the game. With more freedom for discussion and on what we were focusing on, we were able to talk about whatever we wanted to or whatever we were passionate about. This, along with a class of no more than 5 people at a time, allowed us to have engaging conversations where everyone was able to truly express themselves. Discussions like these allowed me to get to know my classmates on a more engaged level that would be hard to find anywhere else. Through talking, we built a sense of community, and we were able to build and learn from each other. When I started Midrashah, I also became a teen assistant for younger classes. This was a full circle moment for me, because I remember being one of the young kids in class trying to annoy the TA. Working with these classes, I learned patience and teaching skills, but more importantly, strengthened my sense of the TBA community. Becoming more involved in Bagel had a really similar effect. My sophomore year, I went to my first Bagel event, and as I got to know more and more people, I began enjoying my time at the events more and more. And by the end of my sophomore year, I was applying to be membership vice president. Being a TA and a Bagel member complemented each other really nicely, because by the time Leah and I were presidents our senior year, multiple of the kids joining Bagel had already been my students, further strengthening my connection to them and our connection in the community. I am thankful to the rabbi, Becky, Miriam, and all my past teachers at the temple, but most especially my peers. I'm not exactly sure where college will take me, but I'm certain I will continue to do the growing I have learned to do so well here at the temple. Thank you.
I don't remember when I first walked into Temple Beth Avodah. Not because I blocked it out of my mind, but because I had just turned 3. I can vividly remember a costume day in the preschool for Purim. I don't remember if I even knew what I was dressed as, but I do remember I had a long cape and was really excited about it. All through my TBA experience, I've had moments like those that have shaped my Jewish identity without me even knowing it. Thanks to the temple, my idea of Judaism is made up of fun memories and group traditions that I will never forget. Temple has been part of my life ever since I can remember, and I know that I will carry the Jewish identity I formed here into my college years and throughout my life, as well as stay connected to this caring, supportive community for many years to come.
I remember the tears streaming down my face as I hid behind my parents in whatever weirdly patterned dress they let me wear that day. My parents and a young Becky Oliver tried to convince me that I would enjoy the kids' Rosh Hashanah programming. Year after year, I finagled my way into the adult services, claiming I was too shy to play with the other kids I didn't know. For many years, this was my only connection to Temple. As someone who went to Jewish day school and Jewish camp, and whose mom worked for the Union for Reform Judaism, I didn't feel that I was lacking any Jewish engagement in my life. Flash forward to the 2017 URJ Biennial. I was sitting at the TBA table for Shabbat dinner, during which I first inquired about being a teen assistant in Hebrew school classes. While it didn't seem like much at the time, it somehow translated into my spending 9 hours a week at synagogue. Through working in 4th to 7th grade classes, I have connected with so many people in the Temple community. Every Monday and Tuesday for the past 2.5 years, I have trudged up those blue stairs after long days of school and significantly shorter nights of sleep, wondering whether it was worth sacrificing so much of my already scarce time. Yet every time I entered the room, screams of, "Peri's here!" gave me a new sense of purpose. Looking beyond my students' complaints about extra schoolwork, I found joy in the moments of understanding and engagement. Whether it was a 3rd grader who finally understood the difference between the Hebrew letters Bet and Tav, a 4th grader who mastered the Via Hafta prayer, or a 5th grader who recognized the importance of inner strength in Jewish history, every small instance of learning was unparalleled. This past fall, my mom encouraged me to scale back a few hours to focus on college applications. Yet somehow I managed to pick up another hour to help with B'nai Mitzvah boot camp instead. More than just my teen assisting itself, the time I have spent working through the Haftarah blessings with middle schoolers and brainstorming teen engagement initiatives with Teen Leadership Council added variety and deeper connection to my already strong bond with TBA. For 4 of the past 5 years, I have chanted the second Aliyah during the afternoon Torah service on Yom Kippur. Every year I read Leviticus chapter 19, verses 9 to 18, during which I chanted the phrase, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself, a phrase which, while overly cliched, encapsulates the importance of Judaism for me. Over the course of the past 17 years, I have witnessed Reform Judaism become more inclusive of people of different races, ethnicities, genders, sexualities, citizenship statuses, and abilities. I have attended Jewish camps with transgender campers. I have helped Jews welcome refugees. I have seen Jews work with Muslims and Christians to effect change. When I marched to end gun violence, I marched with Jews. When I learned about the immigration crisis, I learned with Jews. And when I fundraised for nonprofit organizations, I fundraised with Jews. As a teen assistant, I have not only taught my students about the Hebrew alphabet and about holidays, but also about how to treat other people. Our lessons about Hanukkah involve recognizing the Maccabees' inner strength, and our lessons about Tu B'Shvat involve understanding climate change. The values that I've been taught at Jewish school and Jewish camp, and those that have been passed down to me from my parents and their parents, guide my interactions with other people and help me navigate the complexities of the world. I love the questions that Jews ask and the ways in which we engage with text. Jews aren't satisfied with the status quo. Rather, we ask questions and come to our own conclusions. We are always looking for more information to learn and new perspectives to understand. I remember entering Rabbi Stern's office to discuss my bat mitzvah Dvar Torah. Naso, the longest parsha in the Torah, contained countless Dvar Torah-worthy themes, including the priestly benediction, the rules for being a Nazirite, and the list of offerings brought to the temple. I will always be grateful for Rabbi Stern's support when I said I wanted to discuss women's rights concerning the laws of the Sotah, a set of rules put in place for a husband who suspected his wife of adultery. Instead of blindly following ancient texts, Jews debate the meaning and applications of the text until everyone is more confused than when they started. Although this can seem counterproductive, dissent, which is a key facet of Judaism, is crucial to understanding the nuances of life and progressing as a society. Every Monday night during Midrash Shah, for instance, we contemplate ethical quandaries, seldom coming to a decisive conclusion. Judaism's emphasis on the importance of heritage and remembrance, while simultaneously looking toward the future, resonates with me. Everything in Judaism is midor lador, from one generation to the next. This notion of continuity and inheritance connects me to my ancestors and descendants, as well as my Jewish community to Jewish communities around the world. It's this community that cements the value of Judaism for me. Just over a week ago, following my grandfather's death, my mom suggested that my dad call Rabbi Stern. Instantaneously, my dad's whole temperament changed. He perked up, smiled for the first time all week, and gave me a fist bump. This is the epitome of TBA's community. Rabbi Stern, Susan, Becky, Micah, Miriam, Doug, Kate, Hope, Iris, Roberta, Anne, David, Stacy, Heidi, Eileen, and everyone else who's here tonight. Thank you for welcoming me and my family into this community and filling the past few years with so many memories. In the wise words of Hanan ben Ari, Ech exart et hashviut, ga'aguim livnei adam. While it's sad not to be spending my last few months reviewing Ashrei and Achrayut, I know that whenever I'll be able to come back, the doors will always be open and the lights will always be on. And for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you.